Good morning. This is Tracy Shores on Walk With Me, and I've spent, I guess it's maybe my sixth day here in our new neighborhood in Oklahoma, and it's been a real blessing. And this morning as I was walking, there was the most spectacular sunrise. It was one that, almost it was picturesque because the streams of light were like how a child, even, and I still color it that way, with the streams of light coming through at degrees, just in a beautiful array of light. And so I was thinking upon hope, and I was thinking, Lord, because I took the trash cans out. It's Thursday, the trash goes out, and it just reminded me that Michael's not here. It's something he did, and so I was reminded that he's not here. And I was thinking, if he could have just held on just a little longer, there was something good down the pike. And so I was thinking about hope, and I was thinking, in some ways I have answers, and in other ways I have no greater answers than I had prior to 2 years ago, or in the process. So, but I thought that, in a sense, the person who has the most questions, I think I'm going to stop here. The person who has the most questions, in a way, has the capacity to have the greatest hope, because hope is trusting and waiting in the not knowing. And I thought on even like a present that someone gives you, or presents under the Christmas tree. There's such a hope and excitement for what might be in those boxes, and it's mounting and it's building until the day that a child gets to open those gifts. But once the gifts are open, you look at them like, it's almost like the adventure or the excitement or the substance of that just comes down. And so I was thinking that this hope, because it says faith is the substance of things hoped for. This hope is the evidence of our faith. And we have an opportunity when there's a disparity between our understanding, our human capacity to process what's happened, and believing God for good, or even that this thing that happened, it's not God's best and it's not God's will, because God is always for life and abundant life, and the enemy is for steal, kill, and destroy. So I'm not confusing that, but I'm saying that when we can still hope and trust in a period where we do not comprehend with our mind. And so I was thinking on that, and I like to have God reveal what the now thing is for me. But the second word that came to mind was wait, hoping and waiting. And I thought, well, surely, if I put hope and wait in the Bible, there's probably just a plethora of both very spiritual, intellectual, and profound insight on those two things. So, but, I walked some more to think about what God was saying to me, because I do feel that the word is living and active, and great people say things throughout time, but God uses people now to reveal what the now thing is relational to that word. And it doesn't erase what prior people said, it builds upon, and it's spoken now for today, and moving closer to the next day. And so, but anyway, I put in hope and wait and go fish. The first thing that pulled up was The Count of Monte Cristo. And that's like one of my favorite movies. I think I've mentioned it on YouTube before. It's absolutely one of my favorite movies. And it had this amazing quote. I've not read the book, I've watched the movie, but, and it talked about, it said, until God reveals the plan to man, the greatest human wisdom is contained in two words: hope and wait. And I thought, how contraire. Because wisdom in the world's mind is neither hoping or waiting. Wisdom, we think, is action, doing, seeing a situation and conquering it, applying practical wisdom. And so I thought, how beautiful, what a picture that in God's mind, because if you think about faith, and the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge and the mind and that wisdom. And so we can see that it's like an upside down deal, that God's wisdom is found in this hoping and waiting for something better, right? What man calls foolishness, the message of the cross, we as believers, we call it the hope of tomorrow, the hope of our future, our eternal hope. Rest in that promise that something is coming that's better than what is today. And that's just not like live your life out here and then some future day everything is better. That's progressive and it's moving towards a better future. And so that's what I'm in the process of. And I was thinking, you know what? Hoping is hard. Hoping, especially when you've hoped for things and they haven't. It's the mom who's hoped for her child to return back to the Lord. It's the father who's hoped and hoped for this business to succeed. It's the young person who's, hoping for their husband to return safely from maybe a military mission. I mean, there's so many things. It's the hope of getting that job or financial resources that you need to sustain. And so we are hoping for things. And when there's continued delay, we don't like to wait for things. And we struggle to hope for a good tomorrow. And so I'm inviting you into that. I'm saying, consider it the greatest measure of praise and faith and honor and glory to your Father in heaven, to hope and wait that God has something amazing for you. It's pure faith. It's beautiful, right? Faith is the evidence of things hoped for. So continue to hope, continue to believe God that He has good things for you, and wait. That's what's so hard. Waiting in confidence, waiting, believing, and hoping that something will change. And I looked up, actually, the first thing I did when I thought on that word, when I thought of hope, and then the word wait came, and I thought, I wonder how these words are defined. So it's interesting because the word wait, I looked it up, and it's defined as staying where one is or a delayed action until a particular time or till something else changes. And I thought that does indeed encapsulate waiting. We're waiting for a future time and we're waiting for something to change. And it's hard to hope and wait, but those two are paired. And when we can find peace in hoping and waiting, and when we can find joy, which I believe both the joy and the peace for hoping and waiting are found primarily in the presence of God, because He just wipes the slate. Every negative thought you have, everything that's in disparity to what the promise is that is not the current today's reality, it's like you go into the presence of God and you're just, you're clean, you're whole, you're made new, and you have a fresh start to hope and wait. And if you're in a dire situation, that might require multiple times a day, that might require specific designated times, lengthy times, where you claim that victory by spending it at His feet, in His presence, worshiping, quietness before the Lord. Hey, that's the only way I know how to find it. I haven't found any other place that it is. I mean, there's distractions, and I use them. I go get a Starbucks, and those things are good. Or take a walk. I walk. Exercise is great. they're all good things that God uses. But truly, the release comes where you can again hope and wait with your Father, with your Daddy, in His presence is where that is. I wanted to close with this verse, and it's in Romans 5:5, and it basically tells us that hope does not disappoint because the love of God has been poured out into our hearts through Holy Spirit. And I looked at that, and it's interesting because I don't know that I knew that offhand, but some translations say hope, that when you hope you won't be ashamed, or that hope does not put one to shame, or you'll be unashamed. And I thought, indeed, that's what I do with the Lord, because I feel like I've promised my kids, I've said, I've put my hope in the Lord and He will deliver us. And I am fearful that I'll be ashamed, that I'll say to my kids, God has a beautiful future for us. And then I'm seeing struggles, big struggles based on what happened with their dad. And it feels like that's not the case. And so the enemy wants to say, it's not going to happen. You know, you're going to be, you're looking like a fool, believing and hoping and waiting for something better. Just get over it and accept defeat. And so, but the promise is that hope does not disappoint. And that when you hope, you won't be ashamed. I mean, that, you know, and that's the kind of thing sometimes I do. I say to my daddy, I say, listen, you said it. I'm believing it. May it be so today. And then I have to say it again and again and again and again. And so, anyway, I want to pour out that love of God in your heart, that you would continue to hope, that you would continue to believe, and that you would continue to wait, and you would know that you will not be ashamed and you will not be disappointed. Because when you trust in God, He will deliver you. So thanks for joining me on Walk With Me. Have an awesome day.